What's up, my people? Let's recap 2021. Yes, it took me 26 days to shoot this video, but it's not because I was disorganized. It's because I wanted to do a really good job. So I took some notes of all the wins and all the losses that we had in year 2021, and we're gonna go over them all so that you can see what most real estate investors may not tell you about. Let's go. All right, so let's dig into the numbers. Everyone wants to know the numbers. They only want to know the highlights. What were the big numbers you accomplished in 2021? Well, I will talk about those, but we're going to talk about the fails as well. So at the top, we bought 53 houses and we sold 56 houses, which is almost double what we did in 2020. So that is a huge number. I'm really proud of our team for accomplishing that. But along the way, we had some transition. We had some people that came and some people that went. So let's talk about it. We hired a COO, a chief operating officer for the business, an operations manager, someone to run the day-to-day, someone to make sure each lane is working at its best and that the company is growing and working together as a whole. We had never done that before. In the fall, he transitioned back to his hometown and we then hired another COO. So 2 hires there. We hired an acquisitions rep. Our acquisitions rep has been with us for a year now. So we made that hire to have a full-time acquisitions person, and that's someone who goes on all the appointments. We fired a project manager. We subsequently hired a project manager. We subsequently let go of them, but side note. We hired a lead intake and a marketing person. So originally, we hired someone to do the lead intake and the marketing and do that together. And lead intake, if you're not familiar with this terminology, is who answers the phone when someone calls? Who is the first point of contact when someone calls our company? And to us, they are a lead, and this person intakes the lead. Well, we figured out quickly that they couldn't do both really well. They could just do decent at both because there was too much workload. So we transitioned after we hired. We then hired a full-time lead intake and put the other one into full-time marketing. So 2 hires there. We did transition a bookkeeper. We had an internal bookkeeper in the company and she was in the office every day. We transitioned to a third-party bookkeeping service. So we did a hire and a let go there. We then fired our realtor. If you remember the video, I'll post a link in the description, but this is where we fired Molly and we then hired her as a finance director. So there's a hire and a fire. We purchased our building. We started out as tenants in this building. We were in the basement. It had like purple carpet. It was quite a journey and I will post a video about that. So check that out in the future. But we finished the renovations on our building and we moved from tenants to owners to new tenants upstairs. And we put over $250,000 of renovations in the building, so that was a big project. We purchased our house in Summersville. So if you're not from here, Summersville Lake is probably the most beautiful body of water between the Mississippi and the East Coast. It is here in Summersville, West Virginia. It's beautiful. We bought a house there to run as a lake house for ourselves, for Molly and I and the family, and to run on Airbnb. So we found a house, renovated it, did all this process. We spent a bunch of time there this summer, and it was a really great time. We also purchased a house on the river here locally close to Charleston. That was this cute bungalow house and we turned it into an Airbnb. We fully renovated it, we furnished it, and that has been doing well as well. So that actually doubled our Airbnb quantity. We had 2 before and we added 2 in 2021. Here's a big one. We finished Lee Street. So there's a video about that as well. I'll post a link in the description, but it was like easily one of the biggest fails in our company's history. This is the house that I will single-handedly lose the most money that I think I'll ever lose. You'll have to go check that one out, but we finished the house. We started a new realtor partnership because by default, by pushing Molly out of the realtor seat and putting her into finance, we had to start a new realtor partnership. So that also happened in 2021. We also started a contracting company. And it was a supporting act for our flips. It was a supporting act to the other subcontractors that we use in our house flips. And the jury's still kind of out on that. So check back in 2022, but we did start a contracting company in 2021. And now here's another one that I'm really excited about that was something brand new for myself. I'd always done single family home real estate investing up until this point. And, we've flipped a lot of houses. We've done over 200. And I wanted to get into multifamily and the syndication process and the process of pulling together investors to do a huge deal. And we were part of a really big deal this fall. We helped fund 384 units just south of Daytona Beach. It's called the Lake Forest Complex, and we were part of a syndication and a pool of investors. I was able to provide a great return for my investors. I was able to participate in learning how these deals work, but I am a small owner of 384 units in Daytona Beach, and it was really cool to learn that. So watch out for those deals in 2022 that will happen more. One of the things that I am most proud of that we did in 2021 is we paid our investors over $120,000 in interest payments, in returns on their money, in the projects they invested with us. So again, if you want to go watch that video, I talk about how we partner with investors and how that relationship works. But we paid over $120,000 in interest to our investors who never picked up a hammer, never visited a job site, probably never even knew where some of the addresses were some of the times, because our investors trust us so much that they just want us to deploy the money, make sure they're getting a rate of return, and they want to sit back and watch. And we did that a lot. I want to do it even more in 2022. But if you're keeping count of the hiring and the firing and the tally, all in all, in the year, we let go 4 and we hired 7. So, what I'll say is that I'm still learning what this journey is like as a real estate investor and as an owner and as a business owner and as an entrepreneur. I'm learning what it's like to find the right people to have in the right seats. But what I will tell you is 2021 was a year that we spent honing our craft, honing our talent, and we did. I believe wholeheartedly we got the right people in the right seats in so many lanes in our company. We're poised for 2022, and I'm excited to tell you about what we want to accomplish in 2022. So I hope you'll check that video out as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this content. If you find this stuff interesting, I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, share it with someone you think might like it, and I will see you on the next one.